I've never said this about anybody else, and I never will. This is specifically for you. Fat bastard lie. Foul, despicable, disgusting human being that he is.
Why do so many people hate you?
They hate what I stand for. I have no interest in being relatable. I have an interest in being biblical. Stephen A. He's fraudulent. He's lying about his college basketball career. In 4th grade, got held back because they thought he was rich.
I think he is the peak of the spear in sports journalism, whether we want to agree with it or not.
If Matt Stafford was here, he'd slap the taste out of your mouth for comparing
He won't get
him
far.
to Trevor Lawrence.
A lot of people looking at me and say, Stephen A., you said you wasn't going to clap back. You wasn't going to say anything. You said when you went off on Jason Whitlock, over a year ago that you wasn't going to say much about it. But here you are, Stephen A. Again, I have been being attacked by this man for over a decade. And the 2 times that I have spoken about him are the only 2 times that anybody has ever heard me say anything. As I watched his interview with Cam Newton on Cam Newton's show, 4th and 1, what y'all are missing, whether it's Emmanuel Acho or it's Marcellus Wiley or others who I will get to, certainly Cam Newton, what you're missing is that a lot of people are looking at it and acting like this is about the business. Now, this is personal. Now, I'm not as personal as other people would be. And if you know anything about Jason Whitlock's background, you would understand. There's a reason you see his fat ass sitting in some cubicle somewhere, scared to come out because he knows cats waiting for him. But he ain't worth it to me. Now, you would say, well, then why are you addressing him? Here's why. Because of what he has systematically tried to do to black people in this industry. But because Jason Whitlock is so addicted and fixated on me, he's going to go after my boys. It's who he is. And then he's trying to hide behind my quote-unquote bump my basketball career. I didn't have one. Cracked my kneecap in half. A couple of months after I got there, it was over before it began, damn it. Who cares? I'm 58 years old in the business that you're in, and it's at the same time that you're in, smoking your ass. Smoking you. Excuse my language. You can't fuck with me, Jay. There's levels to this. And your ass is smaller than a cockroach compared to me. You're nothing. You are an expert troller. I'll give you that. But know this. All you're doing is getting a reaction out of me to address how despicable you truly are. But in the end, understand that when your fat ass is sitting behind your desk and you don't want to roll around it because you don't want everybody to see how rotund you are, no. Everything about my life is better than yours. I've never said this about anybody else, and I never will. This is specifically for you. I'm better than you. Cam Newton, next time, my brother, because you know I love you. You gonna interview somebody and bring me up? Don't just sit there and let them talk shit. Ask questions. Let them prove it. I'm a fraud? How? What facts do you have? I didn't write my own book. How do you know? But just for entertainment purposes, let me go back to what he was saying about my basketball career. Ladies and gentlemen, how many times have I said I tried? Somebody stood up there and said, he played and Winston said, I said I tried to. I tried to. I grew up poor. I can assure you my parents couldn't afford to pay for my college education. How did I graduate from Winston-Salem State? How did I go there without having to pay a dime? It happened because I had a basketball scholarship. How did I get the basketball scholarship? Oh, I showed up for a workout. Well, you ever heard of the name Harold Funny Kit? Who drove me down from Queens, New York to Winston-Salem for a workout in the middle of the season because Clarence Big House Gaines, he called Clarence Big House Gaines and say, I got some talent for you. Get on the court and show me what you got. And I kept passing the ball. He called the timeout. He said, wait a minute. Ain't you supposed to know how to shoot the ball? I said, yes, sir. He said, well, then, God damn it, shoot the ball. And I went out there and I hit 17 straight 3-pointers. I repeatedly stated I never did it before and I never pulled it off since. That one day God was watching. How can somebody who proclaims to be doing God's work have a problem with somebody highlighting how a moment in their life involved divine intervention because they were able to do something they never did, and they lucked up with the vile, despicable, disgusting human being that he is, who even went as far as to call my pastor to try to interview my pastor about me. A pastor is a spiritual individual with a connection to individuals from his congregation, similar to what a priest is in the Catholic community, which means that the communication that happens with one another is between one another. Everybody knows that. He doesn't care, ladies and gentlemen. He's on Blaze Media. Isn't Glenn Beck running Blaze Media? Maybe I should give him a call and remind him of the things that Jason Whitlock has done. Maybe I should point to some of the demonic, evil, vicious stuff that he has done to me, Chris Broussard, Scoop Jackson, Jamel Hill, Michael Smith. List goes on and on. Maybe I should tell the people that he works with how people at PTI, pardon the interruption, when he used to sub there, they looked at him and they said, "What's wrong with you? Why are you doing these kind of things to people all the time?" He said, "You don't know? The money." But he shows up on Cam Newton's podcast and says he don't care about the money. So I could sit here and go off all day, every day, about the disgusting speck of a human being that he is. You have never heard me say what I'm about to say about anybody in this business, because I don't talk about my colleagues and my contemporaries that way. I want everybody to get this, but I have whipped your ass. You're a columnist, I'm a columnist. You a New York Times bestseller? No, you're not, but I am. Television ratings on ESPN, we're approaching 14 consecutive years of being number one in the mornings. Fox don't want you. ESPN don't want you. None of that networks, ABC, CBS, NBC, Fox, they don't want you. And what nobody has echoed or has come close to echoing other than Emmanuel Acho, who deserves all the credit in the world for bringing this up, is how you lean on Christianity. Talking about me all the time. You can't touch me, bro. I got up and walked around studio, not just to show off my suit and the relatively decent shape that I'm in, but because you never move from your seat, you don't want people to see you with your walrus looking ass self. All you do is pop shit and talk about people. You stopped covering sports a long time ago. You just talk about people who cover it. Because it ensures that you don't have to go to games, you don't have to communicate with people, and you don't have to be confronted by the people that you mess with outside of this business. You talk about how many careers you've tried to squash. No, you don't talk about that. You say, "I'm doing God's work. I don't care what people think. It's about me and him." You must have been really messed up to be so fixated on God at this point in time in your life, because you know the damage you tried to do to other people. Let me go through some of the headlines just for our edification. Is this God's work? How Jason Whitlock is poisoning ESPN's Black Grantland. That's from an article in 2015. I would encourage everybody to go read it. It's on Deadspin. Jason Whitlock compares Black Lives Matter and Antifa to the KKK. That's God's work. Trying to diminish and lower black people in our business because they're better than you, and you don't want anybody to see it that way. And if you're not broke, you will be soon, because chances are you're not hireable. You have no ethics, you have no morals. But most importantly, for the purposes of this conversation, Jason Whitlock, you don't have a career that compares to mine. I have never talked about that in any way, shape, form, or fashion about any of my colleagues. I reserve it especially for your evil, despicable, trifling ass.
We're living in an era where the people that know the least say the most.
Jason Whitlock has made a career being a troll.
I watched three men, Acho and the two other gentlemen, have a lot to say about me. Never met them, don't know them. They had the most to say. TJ Hushmanzada chimed in and was like, hey guys, I hear what you're saying, but the Jason Whitlock that I know and knew, he wasn't like that.
I've never had a problem with Whitlock. The way that people have had problems with Jason, I never saw that Jason.
The people that know nothing about me had the most to say. And they said that my criticism of Stephen A. Smith was because of jealousy. I'm not jealous of Stephen A. Smith. I don't like what Stephen A. Smith represents. He knows the least about sports and is being paid to say the most about sports. That does bother me. He's dishonest.
That still has a 6-inch screw in it that I never took out.
And I sat and listened to these three guys, or the chubby light-skinned guy, say, who cares if Stephen A. Smith is lying about his background in college and as a college basketball player?
But you're talking about he lied about his college basketball career. Who cares?
Bro,
who cares?
I'm from a different generation. A man's word used to matter. His entire reputation was based on his word.
All I have in this world is my balls and my word, and I don't break them for no one. You understand?
That's the mentality of men of my generation. We laughed at, ridiculed, and destroyed liars like Stephen A. Smith. But now that we live in this very feminine culture, man's word doesn't matter at all, and you would have three men sitting around gossiping about a man that they do not know and pretending like the man that's a pathological liar, he's on the higher ground because he has the most money. I watched three men stick their noses up Stephen A. Smith's rear end.
You sound like a hoe.
I think this was a low ball move. You will not see Emmanuel Acho, I believe, responding to any Jason Whitlock tweet ever.
It's a lie. It's an exaggeration. It's Emmanuel Acho sticking his nose up Stephen A. Smith's rear end for clout. Men that have been completely emasculated don't care about truth. Speakeasy? How about speaking the truth once in a while?
Yeah, I'm glad we're having this conversation, you and I especially, because it's therapeutic. I think it's really crystallizing for me some of the machinery that was at play, some of the moves, the mechanisms. This lawsuit brought a lot of things home for me that I never thought of. So for you, the thing you didn't know was that Acho and Joy were plotting for our show. That takes a different level of pull. So I've always known that Acho and Joy Taylor allegedly, in rumor mill, were romantically involved.